So before we were in Mythos, we would collect all of the impact pieces in May, and then, May through December, and then we would distribute everything the following March. Now that we're in Mythos, we can capitalize on our time in the summer, and we collect the pieces from May to September, and then all of our reports go out by the end of the calendar year in December. So we were able to cut the timeline down by 2.5 to 3 months, and we saved over 500 hours. We finally had a tool where our donors were happy. They had these beautiful reports, and they were ecstatic.
Not only is our University Advancement Division benefiting from this collaboration, but now we have our campus partners coming to us and saying, we really enjoyed using that tool. It was so fast and so easy to share information with you. Can we use it? And we're like, yes, as a matter of fact, you can, and it is easy to use. And good morning, everyone. How many of you are having a fantastic experience at this conference? I know we are. I'm so excited to be here. This is only our second conference. Amber and I went to ADRP in Albuquerque, New Mexico 2 years ago. How many of you were there? Show of hands. Well, we met the Mythos team there, and gosh, we have done so much great work since 2 years, and we're excited to be able to share that with you. I really enjoyed playing on the theme of this year's conference, so let's jump right in. So today, we're going to meet both of our teams. We'll have a little bit of an overview of our annual reporting process. Lori's going to do a little bit of an interactive exercise with you all, a poll. And then we'll walk you through travel woes. That's our reporting challenges, and dig into, what's frustrating us, what's holding us up in our reporting process. I know we all experience turbulence along the way. And then we're going to jump into wins. Once we started partnering with Mythos and understanding how to drive efficiencies in our work. Then I'll come back up after Amber and Lori share our woes and our wins and summarize the partnership benefits, and also talk a little bit about how we plan to use Mythos in the future, since there's a lot to unpack. So today we hope that you walk away understanding your reporting challenges, unpacking what they mean. We also hope that you can take away understanding how Mythos can address some of those challenges, or all of them. In addition to that, we would really love to share some useful tips and tricks with you, maybe not only about your reporting cycle, but other stewardship initiatives. So there should be some goodies along the way. And then, of course, we invite you to connect with us afterwards. And we'll put that slide up again at the end, so that way you have all of our contact information. Now, a little bit about our team. Our entire team is part of our annual reporting process, and that is so we are getting reports to donors most efficiently. And Amber Fedoroff leads that process as the Associate Director of Reporting and Data. And Amber is responsible, in addition to her data role, she is the liaison, or the contact, for our College of Arts and Sciences, as well as our President and Provost office. And she's really the key player with all of our relationships with campus partners. Additionally, Lori here, our assistant director, she's responsible for events. But when it comes to reporting, Lori is our contact for the College of Engineering. Then Ryan McConnell is our donor recognition specialist on our team, another associate director. And she edits everything for athletics and the Center for Access and Success, and some other smaller shops on campus. And then we have Marie Berg. She does our stewardship awarding process as our funds program manager. And Juliana Mingle, our coordinator, and together they handle all editing for student profiles. So that's how we kind of divvy up the work. Now, a little bit of an intro to Bucknell itself. We have nearly 4,000 students enrolled in 3 different colleges. I mentioned those colleges are arts and sciences, Engineering and Freeman College of Management, just over 100 university staff in our division. We are first ranked in the Patriot League for graduation rate, go us, and number one LinkedIn Liberal Arts College in the US. That's a brand new list, so that's pretty exciting for us. As far as fundraising efforts, we've raised almost $280 million in the last fiscal year, bringing our silent phase of the campaign total. And we also had $72 million raised, including 115 six-figure gifts, which set some history for Bucknell in fundraising. Sarah, I'd love to call you forward and talk a little bit about Mythos now. Thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Sarah Moise. I'm the Chief Stewardship Advocate at Mythos, and I will say that role did not exist before I came into Mythos's understanding of our world. I was in donor relations and primarily higher education for 17 years, and a Mythos client on that side of the fence for 5 years before that. I genuinely believe that this tool transforms our work, and that's the only reason I hopped the fence. These are some of my delightful colleagues, most of which to tell you when you engage with Mythos and interact, you have a full team of experts behind you. Regardless of the size of your team, you will interact with all of these people and more. Most of them are here today. In fact, I think all of them. John Buddington is our founder and chief storyteller. You probably heard from him at breakfast if you were awake enough to be there. Rob Huffhines is our head of product. Andrea Droysica is our head of customer success. And Priscilla Yun is our customer support associate. So who are we and what do we do? Our primary mission is to connect donors with their impact. I call us a philanthropic communications platform. Anything that you want to produce, print or digital, you can do in Mythos. But genuinely where we started, our true passion is endowment reporting and stewardship reporting. And that's really the story you're going to hear today from Bucknell, is how they took this tool and some of their deeply unwieldy processes and managed to find some true efficiency savings, some true effectiveness by using a platform. Anything else you want me to mention? All right, Amber, it's all yours.
All right, thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Amber Fedoroff. It's nice to see all of you this morning. I'm happy to share some information about our reports. Annually, we send over 1,200 digital reports. We have 320 print reports. No matter how much we enhance our digital reports, we always have a donor base that still wants the print reports. That's never going to go away. So we will always meet that need. So the types of funds that we report out on are our endowments. That's the second largest group of funds that we report on. Those are program funds, undergraduate research funds, faculty support funds, things along those lines. The largest group that we report on are scholarship funds. Those are both annual and endowed scholarships. Our annual scholarships are $5,000 a year for 4 years, $20,000. And then we also have some restricted funds that have larger impact across campus. So for example, we have one donor who only supports restricted funds. That's just where his interests lie. And so we create a report for him every year to share the impact that he has across campus. He supports our Bucknell farm, and so we create a really nice report for him to share the impact that he has on the space. So here are some of the pieces that we include in our reports every year. My favorite, and I think the rest of my team's favorite, are the impact narratives. So that's where you get to actually see the donor's impact on campus. And so we collect all of that information from all of our campus partners, including students, faculty, and staff. And then that's what we share with our donors. And so then they get to see their actual impact on campus and how they're making a difference with our students today and tomorrow. We also have financials. So our financials are our book and market value. We also have our estimated income numbers, and those numbers are all as of 6/30 of the previous year. So our reports that we're working on now, excuse me, are 6/30/25. And then we have profiles that we create. So in addition to the pieces that we receive from our faculty and staff, and then also students, we create a profile so that the donors get to know a little bit more about who they're supporting. So for faculty, we share their research interests, their educational background, their titles, the areas that they fall under across campus. And then students, we have their city, I combine things, sorry. Their city and their state, their major, their class year. And then we also have a photo for both, so then you can actually visualize who you're helping out. And then we have additional supplemental pieces. So this is our way of pulling our donors back to campus, and so then they can read the information, and then they're seeing what's going on. So all of our impact pieces start with a cover letter from our leadership members of the team. So if a donor supports a faculty program or a faculty member in particular, then that donor would receive a cover letter from our provost. And then if they have a fund that supports engineering, they would have a cover letter from our dean of engineering. And then we have campaign initiative feature stories. So our upcoming campaign is focusing heavily on financial aid. So last year's reports, we were able to include a feature article about the impact that financial aid has on our students. We have a save the date for our annual Scholarship Day luncheon. When we started including that, we noticed increased participation and attendance from our donors. And then the last piece is a survey where we collect all of the donor feedback, and we take all of the information that we receive, we read all of it, and we assess it, and then that helps us to build our next year's reports. So this is where we really get to go and talk about our fun partnership with Mythos. So before we were in Mythos, we would collect all of the impact pieces in May, and then, May through December, and then we would distribute everything the following March. Now that we're in Mythos, we can capitalize on our time in the summer, and we collect the pieces from May to September, and then all of our reports go out by the end of the calendar year in December. And so starting in May, it gives us plenty of time that if we need to follow up with some stragglers, because there's always one, it gives us enough time that we can capture those as well too. So we were able to cut the timeline down by 2.5 to 3 months, and we saved over 500 hours. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so that's huge. Which, in this world, time is of the essence. So here we can show you, this is where we can actually save a lot of our time. So the left column, these are the steps that we could save time on. The middle column, that's our formula, the number of staff that it took, and the hours that it took them to get the jobs done, or the steps done. And then the right column is the total amount of time. So in total, 588 hours. So I know it's crazy, but that's why we're so happy that we moved into Mythos. So I'm going to hand it off to Lori, and she has a fun interactive activity for you.
I'm not going to try not to hit the wall. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Amber, and thank you for joining us today. We would love for you to be able to participate in this quick little exercise. Obviously, we have the QR codes. We love QR codes. They're so great for surveys and getting information. What we're asking of you is, what are your top 3 reporting challenges? We all have those, and we're going to, where did I drop it clicker? Here it is. Okay, as you start to do that, I'm going to take a look at the results. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, we can start to see slow response from campus partners is definitely kind of leading the charge. We can relate to that. Okay. Okay, still moving. Reporting tiers adding more complexity, lower student response rates. unmet customers. You know, these are all everything we can all relate to, but definitely looks like we're holding firm at slow responses from campus partners. Then we're following that up with low student response rates, and then unmet customer service needs. So yeah, these are a lot of the challenges that we all deal with. We're going to touch on these throughout the program, but we're going to touch base on a little bit about our top challenges that we faced in our reporting process. So I want to talk about our top travel woes, and this is pre-Mythos. So these are some of the challenges that we've dealt with before having Mythos. So no survey tool, no workflow tools, unmet customer service needs, and lackluster final reports. And, you know, we kind of know what she's going through there. That's how it is during the reporting process. We have a destination, we have a goal that we're getting to, coming to Montreal. But, you know, are we missing something? Is everything in our bag? Do we have everything we need? You can see her frustration. We kind of all have those moments too. So for our no survey tool, it's like packing for a flight without checking the airline's baggage rules. Creating endowment reports without a survey tool is like packing for a long haul flight without checking those rules. You don't have the right vessel to get you where you need to go, to get you on board to your destination. It can feel messy and chaotic. You're often scrambling, you're at the check-in counter, you're repacking, you're checking the floor, hoping that you leave behind with all your essential materials before getting to your destination. So that's how it is with the reporting process. Do we have everything that we need to get us to that beautiful report at the end? No survey tool. So one of the main problems with that is the data management challenges. We collected impact narratives using hundreds of Google Docs, and Amber can attest to this because she's the one that created all of the folders and all of the documents and created all the permissions for not only our staff, but all of the faculty and staff that had to provide the information for the report. So do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That was part of that 588 hours, I'm sure. So that was a lot of work to do that. Multiple tools needed to build the student profiles. We used Qualtrics. We had to use Excel documents, upload in our CRM. We used Blackbaud CRM. So a lot of different things that we needed to get to build those student profiles out. Manually updated impact data, and that was often clunky and challenging as well. Frustrating file uploader. My personal favorite is character limitations. So I don't know if any of you, yes, we had 600 per field, and our faculty did not like to use those limitations because they have a lot to say, and we want them to have a lot to say. So those limitations were often challenging, and then also photo issues. So getting photos, just identifying where those photos are, getting them from the students. If we don't, we then have to seek them out. But then just uploading them would take sometimes 6 uploads before it would actually take. So when you consider how many reports we're doing and how many student profiles, that was a lot of work and very frustrating. Collaboration challenges. So that was one of our challenges that we've kind of all met. So slow response from campus partners. When we weren't getting responses, that would mean we'd have to email, Google chat, text, call. Grab them when we see them passing in the hall or at a meeting, to try to get information from them or remind them that they need to submit their information. So that's like 40 hours of following up on no responses. So just checking in on people doing their work was taking time from us. Disassociation with final reports and values. So the people that were providing the information, the staff and the faculty that were providing the information on the reports, they never saw the final product. So they weren't seeing it full circle. So they didn't have that kind of value of knowing, what does the report actually look like? What does my portion, my contribution have to it? So unfortunately, that would, not have them, committing to 100%. Increasingly lower student response rates. So for the response rates of the students, our outreach to them was primarily email. So that was very chunky emails, very wordy. You know you lose them in the first paragraph. If you can even get them to open it with whatever subject line you put in there that's kind of enticing to them. So it was really hard to get responses from students as well. Our travel woe number 2 is no workflow tools. So like a mechanical failure being announced prior to departure. So, you know, we know where we want to go, we know what that end result is, and we need those tools and things to help us get there. We need to have that efficiency. We need everything to be working and functioning properly. So we definitely had some challenges there. So part of that was all of those Google Docs that Amber created for us to make our job a little easier. That was editing all of those hundreds of documents. Manually uploaded data, the file uploader that we mentioned, it gets labor intensive for staff, equaling about 25 hours each of work. We also added a layer of complexity with our reporting process with a tiered reporting process. Does anybody in here else use a tiered reporting process? Okay, excellent. So we do have a couple people in there. We would do ours for our, what we call our high five. So those are our top donors, our highest capacity donors, our William Bucknell Society donors, and those are donors who've contributed $1 million or more in lifetime giving, and our board of trustees. And then, of course, managing team assignments with Google Sheets. And also, it's not easy to edit the content once it's uploaded. It's a little bit more challenging. And again, we're looking at 50 hours of editing, so lots of editing time. So travel woe number 3, unmet customer service needs. So like baggage, everyone picks up their bags and yours never appear at the baggage carousel. So you're just waiting and waiting. Yeah, I mean, that was a serious issue where we would have ideas or needs and they just weren't being met, or they were being written down but nothing could be done with them. Or if they could, that could mean an additional cost. So, you know, you're looking at the possibility, but then can we afford to do those extra things? So sometimes we would have those issues where we, the things that we need were just not going to be possible. Slow response times to sensitive needs, shared challenges with the improvement wish list, and then also, this is important, lack of training and reference materials. And I have to give the shout out to Amber because she trained all of our staff, and she continues every cycle. We have to get a refresh, so it's a lot in there, and we had a lot of lack of reference materials and tools provided, little ability for self-assistance, and it was also difficult to onboard new team members. And then lackluster reports, like finally arriving at the destination and it's disappointing, but not like Montreal. It's absolutely beautiful here and we love it. So, and that's how our reports will be ending up, just like Montreal is. But for us, the reports were lackluster. Brand and design, it did not represent our brand. The digital reports poorly translated into print. That was a challenge because we did need some donors, they wanted print reports. So we had to incur an additional cost to get a writer, to have them printed, a designer, so it was a whole extra element for that. Access and usability, donors have trouble accessing the reports. It was complicated, it wasn't easy to access. Team managed donor passwords and limited customization of template. We couldn't handle it internally and again had to pay for more changes. So those woes often have us feel like we're going up the crazy train. Rest in peace, Ozzy. We love you. Yes, yes. We all felt like this. Yeah. Right? I mean, this is reporting season, isn't it? But that's okay. There's hope because Amber's going to tell you about that.
Thank you. All right, so I get to follow up after Ozzy. I'll try. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the travel wins that we had with Mythos. Win number 1, robust survey tool. Win 2, built-in workflow functionality. Win 3, first-class customer service. And win 4, highest quality reports. Okay, this is one of my favorite areas. The robust survey tools, like easily getting through TSA boarding and having a great seat. You finally have all of the tools that you need to create these beautiful reports. You have a way to collect all of your impact narratives, and it's all in one place. I know. Your neighbor's letting you put your elbows out in the seats. So within Mythos, all of the tools that you need are built within the product. So we are able to use the survey tool and survey all of our students, our campus partners as well too. And so we can gather all of the impact narratives within the survey tool that's built within Mythos. So within the survey, you can build auto reminders, so you're no longer having to go in and send emails out to everybody. The auto reminders go out, you don't even have to think about it. So when you see that campus partner or that faculty member downtown in Lewisburg and they look at you and they know that they are delinquent, that auto reminder is why. So we're also able to brand the surveys, which was huge. So when we're sending the surveys out, they actually look like they're coming from one of our team members. They're coming from our @bucknell.edu email address. And then you can also make the surveys look and feel like your brand. So when we send the surveys out, we have our Bucknell University word mark. We've also been able to survey some of our other donor groups, which Jess is going to talk about later. But when we were sending out those surveys, we could use the logos for the recognition societies as part of the branding for those surveys. So then we were able to bring that messaging right back. So last year we took a step and we thought about all of the pain points for our editing process. And so we enhanced our surveys and we built all of those expectations into the survey. So now we're asking for our campus partners to address the actual donors. We're providing that information. There's a merge field, so you can actually provide the donors. You can provide information about the fund all within the survey. And it's multiple pages. We have all of that information on every single page. So it's there at the forefront, and they know exactly where to get the information. And same with the end too. We asked that all of our faculty members include a closing, and so it made for a stronger report. It's all built into the survey. So all the expectations are clearly built out within the survey. You can gather supplemental information. So prior to moving to Mythos, we were finding photos. We were doing all the digging. You can capture photos within the survey tool, and they are photos that our campus partners are giving us. The students are providing photos. It's no longer those mug shots that they have on their IDs. They are actually giving us those. And then you can also gather thank you videos too. So some of our campus partners, they created really heartfelt, wonderful messages that we could send to the donors, and they loved it. And okay. All right, travel win number 2, workflow functionality. So like a smooth takeoff and clear skies, no turbulence. So we don't have the hiccups that we used to anymore now that we're in Mythos. Everything's there. We have the workflow functionality, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so our entire process is managed within Mythos. So after we capture all the impact narratives in the surveys, then we build stories. And then those stories, we get to edit those and review that information. And then that's what later gets built into the sites, which are the reports that we share with the donors. So as you're editing the stories, the formatting is very similar to what you're used to already with Word docs and Google Docs as well too. Very similar. It was easy to onboard, and you got the lay of the land pretty quickly. You can easily search for pieces. So we often search for the fund, the donor, students, who things are assigned to. And here you can see this is the advanced search capabilities. So you can look to see where things lie within the process, if it's still draft or proofed or approved. So you get a quick snapshot of where you are in the process. And you can also check to see if anything's assigned to you. So Lori can check and see everything that she has in her queue at the moment. So you can use lead tier reports. So right now we have 3 different tier groups, our top tier, middle group, and then our last group. And we built all the framework, and then we basically just upload a different donor file for each of the tiers. So it's very easy. We just set a different timeline for each of the different tiers, but all of the infrastructure is in Mythos. You also have the capability to add notes. So rather than sending out 20 emails to each of your teammates, you can put a note right on the piece that you're editing or the site that you're reviewing. You can tag somebody in there, and so then they get a notification that there's a note and it's assigned to them. And so then they can see what needs to be done with that piece. You can add your fundraisers and additional collaborators to the different pieces. Our fundraisers wanted more transparency, and they wanted to see what the donors were receiving. We had information in an exterior database, but they wanted to see the live information. So you can quickly and easily add fundraisers to the reports, and they see everything that their donors are getting. And you can also assign different roles to each of your team members. It takes very little effort for that. We talked about that. Okay, first-class customer service. Like sitting in first-class, spacious cabin, appetizing food, and plentiful amenities. Anybody that you talk to that's ever worked with Mythos is so happy. I mean, we'll talk about it, but the team here is so responsive, and they're very transparent as well too. Andrea and Priscilla get back to us very quickly. I don't know how they do what they do, but they do it, and it's amazing. And they're very honest about how long it's going to take for any process or any portion of the process, and so they always share whatever information it is that we need to know. So as we were onboarding, the training was wonderful. We would have a training session with Priscilla and Andrea, and then shortly after the session, they would follow up with a slide deck of all the information. And what was great was they broke it down according to where you were in the process, and so it was bite-sized, easy chunks. You weren't overwhelmed. And then in addition to that, there's also web resources. So if you can't find it in the slide decks, you can go out to the website. You can search for what you're looking for. And then you can also check in with the user community group. So everybody in the user community, they want to help each other out. We're here for each other, and there's people shaking their heads yes and here. So we're here for each other. And the other thing too is you can always just email, and they get back to you right away. All right, highest quality reports. Like getting to your final destination, and it's beautiful. We finally had a tool where our donors were happy. They had these beautiful reports, and they were ecstatic. Okay, so we're going to look at our sample digital report, but we also have print reports here. We have a limited quantity, so if you want more, oh, we do have more. There's more in the back too. And we'll also have some at the Mythos table upstairs on the 4th floor, so feel free to grab some before you leave. But here you can see this is the cover shot. This is our quad on our campus, a beautiful drone image. So you can, it's just a beautiful report. You can see how it brings you right back to campus. And the Mythos team handled everything. So they printed all the reports for us, they distributed all the reports for us, designed the reports for us, and they felt like they came right out of our print shop. Okay. So I'm gonna hop in and show you a sample of our reports. So these are our reports. So up here at the top, you can see there's a navigation bar. So the donors can go and they can grab different pieces, supplemental pieces within the report. Here's a beautiful campus image. The quality is top notch. This is our president, John. So all of the reports start with a really nice thank you note from John, and there's also all the fund information in there as well too. And then we can segment the information depending on the topic. So we'll take a look at our scholarship funds here. Here's 3 beautiful students on campus. And then here's some fun information. So we'll take a look at one.
Becky.
This is Becky Bison. So here you can see the profile that we had talked about earlier. So we do something like this for all of our students. And then this student did a really great job responding to the survey questions. So here you can see this is their response.
So meaningful for the donors to read all of that.
And then here you can see our financials that we listed or we mentioned earlier. These are fake numbers, but this is, you can easily put the financials in here, and we have the definitions in as well too. And then here's a cover letter from Lisa Keegan, our VP for student enrollment. So these are this is an example of one of the cover letters that we had talked about earlier. So all of the scholarship funds have this nice cover letter from Lisa. Here's a piece on the impact of financial aid. So this is one of our campaign initiatives, so we were able to put this within the scholarship section. And then here's one of the features that we had this year. This is Kaylin Reynolds. She's a beautiful student that's receiving financial aid. So we were able to highlight her story a little bit and talk about the impact that financial aid has had on her and her journey. And then we include information about the postgraduate outcome report. So we help to paint the picture a little bit about the students, and we share that information with the donors so they can see beyond the students that they're supporting. This is the health and the wealth of our students here. We have our university endowment report, frequently asked questions, and then a nice cover letter from Jess. But we also have a survey as well too. So this is the survey that we use to collect information from our donors, and so that helps us to drive our next reporting cycle. So once we moved to Mythos, we had the most beautiful reports that we've ever had, and our donors were happy. They shared all that with us too. Our digital reports, our donors could easily click on the link and they could gain access to their information. Before, we had to save all their passwords, and then if you didn't save the right password, then you sent them the wrong password, and then you had to reset everything. It was not like that at all. So they could easily click on the link and they were able to access their information. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 questions come back with all of the reports that they couldn't access their information, and we figured it out. The print reports you saw earlier, and our team was really happy as well too. Mm-hmm. So we were able to not just focus on the reports, we could start thinking about the other initiatives that we wanted to drive within our team. And last year we had converted to Mythos, and we still had a big event in New York City, a 3-day event for our highest donors, all during reporting process. So here you can see some of the quotes that we got from our donors. The quote up at the very top, that's actually the donor that named our school of management. So they meant a little bit to us, a little bit of something to us. So I'm going to hand it over to Jess, and she's going to talk a little bit about where we're going from here.
Well, huge thank you to Amber for covering those wins and Lori for walking us through those challenges that we overcame thanks to the Mythos team. We've had nothing but smooth travels thanks to our partnership, and I would love to recap what those wins are thanks to this new collaboration. As Amber was talking about, we're not frustrated with a manual process anymore, which allows us, it really frees up our time to focus on what matters. And that's building relationships with our campus partners, with our fundraisers, with the donors themselves that allow us to better understand impact and report it back to the donors. So we're actually helping to raise more revenue through these efforts. Happier donors equal more revenue. Additionally, thanks to these stronger partnerships, we've driven efficiency through branding. For example, when students see the survey now, they know that it's important because it's Bucknell branded. It looks and feels like us, and they feel compelled to answer it. The same thing as far as reporting back to the campus partners that are weighing into the reports with that impact narrative. We were easily able to create a sample report and included real-life impact narratives from some of our campus partners, so that way they could see exactly what was being shared with our donors and feel a sense of pride in it. So many times, they were just completing these reports and never hearing back from us, not understanding the big picture and why their time matters, why it matters to thank our donors. But when we could show them an example of what these end results look like and how it made donors feel with some of the quotes that Amber just shared, now they feel compelled and take a lot more pride in what they're providing to us. Also, an additional stronger collaboration with the fundraisers. It's so easy for them to access and to view these reports because we've made them collaborators within the reports. I think that will continue to grow that partnership. So that way they're actually reviewing the reports prior to them being distributed to donors. And we're looking forward to that opportunity in the future. It also allows fundraisers to follow up with the donors because, thanks to the analytics, we understand which donors aren't clicking and opening. So we can say, hey, fundraiser, we noticed that Jim Smith didn't open his report. Can we please work with him to do that? And they can answer Jim's questions in real time since they have access to it. We're also using Mythos outside of the reporting world, which is really exciting and fun, and we have tons of creative ideas to do that. So, we're looking forward to connecting with you and also coming up with more ideas in the future. But I'd like to just share a few of what we've been working on lately. We surveyed 2 of our donor recognition societies. It was the Ellen Clark Bertrand Society, our legacy giving society, as well as our William Bucknell Society, which is our $1 million plus donors in lifetime giving. And not only were we trying to get a collection of more accurate information about them, their demographics, ensuring email and addresses and no relationship changes, etc., but it also allowed us to gather their preferences, which means we know how to better respond to their needs. And that might be communication-wise. It might be when they come to an event. We know how they like to be recognized. We know whether or not that they want their name to be announced and for an award to be handed to them on stage, or if they want to be behind the scenes and don't appreciate things like that. Additionally, something new that we decided to do to build community within the William Bucknell Society Recognition Society was to build a membership directory. When we surveyed them, we asked questions that fed into a membership directory, and that directory went to all members that contributed answers. I have to say we received nearly a 50% response rate on that. Some of it was with some follow-up touches from us, but I think it was really thanks to the branding that Mythos has allowed us to do. And of course, that is all leading to higher donor satisfaction just in time for the launch of our campaign next fall. So we're in good shape. Driving home some of the benefits of our amazing new partnership, not only is our University Advancement Division benefiting from this collaboration, but now we have our campus partners coming to us and saying, we really enjoyed using that tool. It was so fast and so easy to share information with you. Can we use it? And we're like, yes, as a matter of fact, you can, and it is easy to use. So now we are working with the provost's office to manage all of the endowed faculty reports. We've collected, we've used the survey system to collect all of the information about those named faculty, so we can not only keep it within the system, but then also report it out. We're also working with 2 center directors on an impact report for the Center for Data Science, a new center. And our content library, as we're working on reports, we're hashtagging important information within each impact report, so that way it builds a content library, which includes both text, photos, and videos. And now we're best friends with communication. We'll take it. Anyway. So, additionally, now we're able to really support fundraising efforts. We're being brought to bigger, broader tables because of how we're interacting and focusing on these relationships and providing resources and information. In the future, what we're hoping to do is to continue those efforts. Up first, we're thinking about how do we use all of this impact to build really meaningful proposals. John and I have been talking a lot about that, so if that interests you, do follow up with the Mythos team. John has some great ideas there. Newsletters, having more warm touches, not just reporting once a year, but hearing from stewardship and donor relations more frequently, and stirring those warm emotions about the kind of impact that they're having. And additionally, reporting out to Capitol projects such as Holmes Hall on campus will be celebrating 5 years this year. So Amber and I are working on a special report to those donors.